I'd like to welcome you all. You are about to enter a world of imagination. A world where battles are fought on hex maps and grids, whether virtually or in person. Dice cast, swords a clash, and even the toughest problems can be solved with little ingenuity and a lot of luck. Ain't that right, Cap? That's right, my friend. So with dice in hand and a heart full of adventure, Cap and I would like to welcome you all to this Polyhedra Paradise. What's going on, Cap? Quiet again, I see. That's okay. You know what we're gonna do tonight, Cap? We're gonna dig into all the tea, all of it. We're gonna take a look at the new OGL 1.2. We're gonna expose Wizards of the Coast for the fraudsters that they are. We're gonna take a look and see how this is just a gilded cage, another gilded cage, a trap for all of us to fall into. Because you know what? They're still deauthorizing something that can't be deauthorized. Isn't that some bullshittery, Cap? That's some bullshit, man. That's right. That's some bullshit. Well, without further ado, let's get into the office. Yay! How's everybody doing on this first call-in Thursday? Gray, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah. So tonight we're gonna take a look at the OGL 1.0a. We're going to take a look at some tweets from Wizards of the Coast, and we're going to break down the new nasty, so to speak. So, welcome everybody. I know you all know what's been going on with the OGL, but a couple days ago, let's just get right into it. Let me make sure. Let me turn this down so you guys aren't getting blown out by the music. Drifter, that's a quote of the night. The new nasty, same old nasty, but with more words. That's right. They upped the word count. It ain't all it's cracked up to be. I saw the tweet today and I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, okay, I can live with this. And I really started thinking about it. They're still deauthorizing 1.0a. So what did we get? We got a whole lot of nothing wrapped up in a nice new package. They're shoving stuff at us to keep us quiet, but I'm not gonna go quietly into that good night. I mean, y'all can do whatever you want. Obviously, by no means am I like trying to tell you guys what to do. But when we get done, when we get finished looking at it, you guys can let me know if it's really any better or if it's just another way to keep us shut up. Because I think that they're making concessions, definitely making concessions. But at the end of the day, I think if they're allowed to deauthorize 1.0a, they can change whatever they want at any given time. And we're gonna end up in another few years back in the same spot. Great, no problem. So let's go take a look. Take a look at the old tweet box here. So I want to start off by going back a day because I didn't really get a chance to go over the we're sorry, our introduction to Kyle. I'm sorry tweet. But yeah, let's go take a look at that. So we're gonna go back to the working conversation, the path forward. Let's go take a look at the path forward first. So, all right, working conversation about the open gaming license. Hi, I'm Kyle Brink, the executive producer on D&D. It is my team that makes the game we all play. I mean, debatable. Because, you know, a lot of people they make that. But a little background on who Kyle is. Okay, so in October, Ray Winninger, one of my personal favorite people in the whole world, Ray Winninger left D&D. Ray was the executive producer at D&D. I'm just gonna make sure my mic is working. Okay, I think I'm sorry. I think I accidentally unplugged my mic there for a second, guys, but I think it's working now. So yeah, Kyle took over his job. So now Kyle is in charge of D&D, the books, the gaming side of things. So he says D&D has been a huge part of my life long before I worked at Wizards, and it will be for a long time after I'm done. Kyle is already counting his days. Because this isn't going to go well for Kyle. My mission, and that of the entire D&D team, is to help bring everyone the creative joy and lifelong friendships that D&D has given us. Fair enough. These past days and weeks have been incredibly tough for everyone. As players and fans and stewards of the game, we can't and we won't let things continue like this. We can't let it continue. It can't happen, and this is our fault. We did this. I'm here today to talk about a path forward. First, let me start with an apology. We're sorry. So sorry. We got it wrong. I was excited initially when I saw like a straight out apology, but this was about 2 posts too late. Our language and requirements in the draft OGL were just the draft OGL. This is lie number 3 in here probably. It was not a draft. Let's be clear. Hey Ryan, good to see you, buddy. Oh, Drifter, nobody in their right mind would A, sign the OGL, B, ever trust everything they put out. That's true. Everything that you see now, they're backpedaling so hard because we beat the brakes off of them by canceling our D&D Beyond subscriptions. Don't ever forget that we pulled together and we actually made a change. We at least dented their armor. Whether it has long-lasting impact, we'll see, because, we'll probably come back to this point, but I really think anybody who gives a crap has already bolted for the door. So I think all of this is just... it may be a moot point at this point. But we did that, though. Let's see. So, get this straight. It was not a draft. What was leaked actually went out to creators with signed contracts. You don't send a draft out with signed contracts. I think that point is beyond dispute now. So they're lying here. We're disruptive to creators and not in support of our core goals of protecting and cultivating an inclusive play environment and limiting the OGL to TTRPGs. Okay, so their goals were an inclusive play environment and limiting the OGL to TTRPGs. But if you look at 1.0a, there isn't anything that doesn't speak to those things in that. So... I'm not sure why they had to overhaul the whole thing. Then we compounded things by being silent for too long while brass management waited for this whole thing to blow over and hoped that it would. But it didn't, and now Kyle is here talking to us. Viva la revolution! You're in the middle of one, buddy. You're in the middle of one. We hurt our fans and creators when more frequent and clear communications could have prevented so much of this. Not touching the OGL would have prevented much of this. Starting now, we're going to do this a better way, more open and transparent, with our entire community of creators, with time to iterate, to get feedback, to improve. We're going to do better. If this sounds familiar, that's because how we do it for the game itself. So let's do it that way for the OGL too. It's all, like, if you really wanted, you should have done this from the beginning, Kyle. You should have done it from the beginning, because to backpedal like the old thing where you said, oh, this is really what we wanted feedback. No. If you wanted feedback, you would have said, hey, we're thinking about changing the OGL. We want to get all these third-party creatives together. And as a matter of fact, there was a rumor that happened behind closed doors, where they got a bunch of third-party creators together and said, hey, this is what it's going to be. But it wasn't very much a give and take. It was just that you're going to take it. You're going to take what we give you, 25% royalties. But if you're here in this room, it'll be 20. But anyway. Well, we'll listen to you, and then we'll share with you what we've learned, much like we do in our Unearthed Arcana and one D&D playtest. This will be a robust conversation before we release any future version of the OGL. Here's what to expect. On or before Friday, January the 20th, we will share a new proposed OGL documentation for your review and feedback, much as we do with our playtest materials. And that came out today. 1.2 came out today, which is funny that it's not the rumored 2 that was out there. So I'm kind of curious about these numbering, the way they're doing it. But, all right, let's continue. After you review the proposed OGL, you will be able to fill out a quick survey, much like Unearthed Arcana playtest and feedback surveys. It will ask you for specific questions about the document and include open form fields to share any other feedback that you have. All right. The survey will remain open for at least 2 weeks, and we'll give you advance notice before it closes so that everyone who wants to participate can complete the survey. Then we will complete, analyze, react to, and present back what we heard from you. All right. Finally, you deserve some stability and clarity. We're committed to giving creators both input into and room for to prepare for any update to the OGL. Also, there is a ton of stuff that isn't going to be affected by the OGL update. So today, right now, we will lay out the areas that this conversation won't touch. I have one issue. Well, I actually have a couple issues. So they're doing this by D&D Beyond. Suppose you don't have access to D&D Beyond, or you canceled your subscription, or you don't feel like dealing with them. The playtest for this survey is extremely targeted. Like, it's only going to be people who are actively on D&D Beyond or have access to the internet materials. They're not going out and polling the people. They're not sending these surveys out to third-party creators. It's still incumbent upon the community to go search these things out and respond to them. So you're narrowing the field of who you're going to get to respond to this stuff anyway, already out of the gate. And the way people yeeted themselves out of D&D Beyond, I'm surprised like the 7 people that are still using D&D Beyond are going to, be responding to this survey, and that'll be about it. All right. Any changes to the OGL will have no impact on at least these creative efforts. Your video content, whether you're a commentator, streamer, podcaster, live playcast member, or any other video creator on platforms like YouTube and Twitch and TikTok, you've always been covered under the Wizards fan content policy. The OGL doesn't and won't touch any of this. I guess that's in response to people wondering how this was going to affect it, because they mentioned pantomime in 1.1. They mentioned videos and stuff, and the content. Let me know if you guys want to take a look at the fan content policy. We can go back to that, but basically it's the standard stuff. You can't make money off of them. Like if you were a let's say you're a cosplayer and you dress up as Caddy Bree. Let me know in the comments if you know who Caddy Bree is. But if you dress up as her and you hand out your pictures, you can get money on your Patreon and stuff like that, as long as those pictures that you hand out or the pictures that you have are available for free somewhere. So, but what you can't do, and this is where it gets tricky, is you can't offer those pictures as a incentive to join your Discord or join your community. You can't have content behind D&D licensed content behind a paywall. So there is like a little bit of a area there where, if you offer the pictures and you can pay me because you like what I do, is a lot different than pay me for what I do and then I'll show you the pictures. So it gets it's a little gray area there. Your accessories for your own content. No changes to the OGL will affect your ability to sell minis, novels, apparel, dice, or any other items related to your creations, characters, and worlds. Mike, what's up, buddy? Yeah, Dritz and Wolfgar's X. Yeah, that was a little nasty there. Oh, speaking of Dritz, everybody, just real quick, a little plug. Go check this book out. The Tao Dritz, R.A. Salvatore's latest book. This one was given to me by my good friend Callisto. It's actually signed by R.A. Salvatore. It's right there in the Game of Life. May you always roll with advantage. It's Dritz's own words and his life lessons. You guys should definitely check that out. But tangent over. Back to the OGL. So this is related to your creations, your characters, and your worlds. So, of course, they wouldn't have any say over that anyway, because it doesn't fall under D&D's purview. It's your worlds. So, like Tantherum, like my world Tantherum, if I wanted to sell maps of my world of Tantherum, they can't touch it. It's not affecting them. Non-published works, for instance, contracted service. You use the OGL if you want to publish your works that reference 5th edition content through the SRD. That means commission work, paid DM service, consulting, and so on are not affected by the OGL. Nobody thought they would be. VTT content. So now I feel like they're like stuffing things in here that nobody actually expected them to affect, just to make the list seem longer. You know, when you do a job and you start writing out the things that you did, and you start writing down the minutia, like I swept this room, I swept the bathroom, instead of just said sweeping, they're like listing things here just to like pad their stats, so to speak. All right, VTT content. Now this is interesting. Any updates to the OGL will still allow any creator to publish content on VTTs, and will still allow VTT publishers to use OGL content on their platform. Okay, because I know there's a lot of people worried about Foundry and Roll20, but I still believe that they're going to have special deals with those companies, because you're not going to be able to host all the D&D content on a competitor's virtual tabletop when they start rolling out their VTT. I think a lot of that's going to change. DM's Guild content. The content you release on DM's Guild is published under our community content agreement with Dungeon Masters Guild. This is not changing. Again, nobody thought it would. Your 1.0 content, nothing will impact any content you have published under the OGL 1.0a. This will always be licensed under 1.0a. What if you want to support something that was already published under 1.0a? The sticking point is, will you be able to, in the future, publish stuff under 1.0a? And by all indicators are no, you won't be able to. So anything that's in 1.0a is going to be locked in this state of stasis. If you have a whole setting that is released under 1.0a, it'll be forever locked there. You won't be able to use 6th edition to update it, and you won't be able to release anything new under 1.0a under it. There will be no royalty or financial reporting requirements. That's a good one, because that was ridiculous. If you remember correctly, they were going to have to report anything. I think it was, the ceiling was 50 grand. You had to report what you sold. You had to report how much of it how much of a product you moved, what you sold. And it was basically like a roundabout way to do market research for them. At least is what it looked like to me. You own your content. You will always continue to own your content with no license back requirements. So before, in the proposed OGL, you owned your content, but Wizards had a right to license your work and not pay you and use it in any way that they wanted to and not have to mention you, which is tantamount to just stealing your work. But now you own your content and there's no license back requirements. Still got to see what they say, because that's fine, but they could just say, we have the right to use it without a license. You don't know until we dig into the OGL, and we're going to do that. That's all for me now. You'll be hearing from us on or before Friday, as described above, and we look forward to the conversation. Kyle Brink, executive producer, Dungeons and Dragons. All right, so that was the apology that went out. Everybody with me so far? Tracking, right? Okay. So then, let's see. All right, so today, this came out 7 hours ago. I wish I wasn't at work. I'd have jumped on it sooner. Starting our playtest with a Creative Commons license and an irrevocable new OGL. So, remember, one of the problems is everybody believed that 1.0a is irrevocable, and everybody's like, we need the word irrevocable in there. We need it. We're going to get it now. But I'm wondering if now's no good. Because what if they lock us into something that is terrible, and now it's definitely irrevocable? Stay hydrated. It's very important you stay hydrated. So, starting the OGL playtest. For over 20 years, thousands of creators have helped grow the TTRPG community using a shared set of game mechanics that are the foundation for their unique worlds and other creations. We don't want that to change, and we've heard loud and clear that neither do you. I mean, because we raised our voices, and congrats to you guys for raising your voices. It's not that they wanted that to change before. It's just that they wanted to charge you, and they wanted to get all the monies. They wanted to get all the monies for it. So we're doing two things. Now, when I read this floored me. I'm not going to lie. We're giving the core D&D mechanics to the community through a Creative Commons license, which means that they are fully in your hands. The core D&D mechanics. If you want to use the quintessentially D&D content from the system's reference documents, such as owlbears and magic missile, OGL 1.2 will provide you perpetual, irrevocable license to do so. So we will be able to use it irrevocably. Well, we already had that, and we still have it, and there's still debate as to whether mechanics can even be copywritten. So we may not even need the Creative Commons license. I'm going to detour here for a second and take a look at the Creative Commons license. Okay, so because I think it's important that we know what it is. So, all right, so here we go. Under the Creative Commons license, which this is a nonprofit organization, so it means Wizards won't have sway over it. It means nobody who publishes under this has the ability to do anything with it because it doesn't belong to them. It's a nonprofit. Share. You can copy and redistribute the material in any medium or format, adapt, remix, transform, and build upon the material for any purpose, even commercially. A licensor cannot revoke these freedoms as long as you follow the license terms. Yes, Drifter, I agree with you. It's going to land in court. These new OGLs are really little more than declarations of war on the competition. Yes, this thing is going to go to court. I heard somebody today say that we need an Article 5 for all third-party content creators, which basically means like from World War II. So an attack on one third-party creator using OGL 1.0A is an attack on all of them. So you should all band together. If they go after the little guy, Paizo, Money Cook, Green Ronin, they all step in. So attack on the little guys, attack on anybody using 1.0A, and I think that's a good idea. But anyway, under the following terms, tributation, you must give appropriate credit, provide a link to the license, and indicate if changes were made. You may also do so in a reasonable manner, but not in a way that suggests the licensor endorses what you use. Basically, you say, I am using the 6 core stats, I'm using the owlbear, I'm using wild shape, but D&D doesn't necessarily say that they agree or endorse what I use. This is very important. I need you guys to remember this. It has built into it that the licensor doesn't have to endorse what you use because of some things that they want to put in 1.2. No additional restrictions. You may not apply legal terms or technology measures that restrict others from doing anything the license permits. Notices, you do not have to comply with the license for elements of the material in the public domain or where your use is permitted by an applicable exception or limitation. No warranties are given. You do not pass go, do not collect $200. The license may not give you all the permissions necessary for your intended use. For example, other rights such as publicity, privacy, or moral rights may limit how you use the material. So already we're starting to see morality clause. So that's basically what the Creative Commons is. So you're going to publish under that, an unnecessary step because 1.0A already takes care of all this stuff. All right. Creative Commons is a non-profit dedicating to shared knowledge. You know what? We gotta bring the energy up a little bit. Sorry, I was starting to. It was. this very much sounds like they're trying to legislate the morality of the things that are adjacent to D&D. Which, you know, let's look at 1.0a. Oops. Let's see. You know what? I'm not gonna go back and look at it. Sorry, but so those are the only three. The only reason that they're changing it is because they want to. Let's see here, because they want to have the ability to shut you down if you say something hateful and you're tangentially adjacent to D&D. I don't know. It starts to sound a little weird. It only applies to published TTRPG content, including on VTTs. Well, it basically implied that in 1.0a. Of course, you couldn't go out there and make a movie using it. You couldn't make a video game using it. Everybody understood that. So I don't think that's necessary. What's not in there? Okay, here's where they start wrapping all this up in the gilded cage, as far as I'm concerned, at least. There's no royalty payment. There's no financial reporting. No license back. No registration. No distinction between commercial and non-commercial. Nothing will impact any content you have already published under 1.0a. That will always be licensed under 1.0. Your stuff is your stuff. We swear to God, we're not trying to take your stuff. We promise you. So, it sounds good, right? It doesn't sound bad. But why change 1.0a? This stuff was implied in 1.0a. I don't understand. And why? Okay, well, let's move on. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Before you scroll down and grab it, let me give you more details about what's in there. Protecting D&D's inclusive play experience. As I said above, content more clearly associated with D&D, like the class of spells and monsters, is what falls under the OGL. You will see that 1.2 lets us act when offensive or hurtful content is published using the covered D&D stuff. Okay, who uses the word D&D stuff in an official statement? Official D&D products, official D&D classes, official D&D stuff. Our stuff. Don't muck with our stuff. We want an inclusive, safe play experience for everyone. This is deeply important to us, and OGL 1.0a didn't give us the ability to ensure it. Well, how though? How exactly are you going to enforce inclusive play? I'm sorry, that inclusive play shouldn't be the purview of D&D. They shouldn't come in and say, your system isn't inclusive enough, you can't use our rule set. That's not the point of the gaming license. It's just, here's our rules, make stuff for it. Nobody's confusing Pathfinder with actual D&D. Nobody's confusing Monty Cook with actual D&D. There's no ampersand. There's no company logo. There is no direct link other than the core 6 stats. So let's say I came out with a game that was kill all orcs. All orcs are evil in this setting. You have to kill them all, and you can't be a female character because they're not strong enough. Let's just say I did that. Obviously, I'm not D&D, but should a company have a right to say you can't even use our rule set because we think not all orcs are evil, and you have to have women characters at your table? Is that right for a company to do that? I'm not saying that it's right to have that type of game, because I personally don't think it is. But where does Wizards of the Coast feel like they have the authority to pull back anything associated with them because they don't like the style of play that you have? And it seems like that's what this is. It's a morality grab. Is it because they want to weed out a whole bunch of people prior to the release of 6th edition? This seems... I can't figure out where this is coming from. I understand the talk about the NFTs and them, and because that's money. But like this just seems like a morality clause can be used as, you know, it gives you any reason to be able to work into like getting somebody out of your way. So you could, if this is in there, you know, anybody's susceptible to having it used against them. TTRPGs and VTTs. 1.2 will only apply to TTRPG content. We know this. Whether published as a book or electronic publications or on virtual tabletop, nobody needs to worry if it applies to anything else. It doesn't. Make an addendum to 1.0. Say, hey, it only covers that. Just make it 1.0A1. Deauthorizing 1.0A. We know this is a big concern. Creative Commons license and the open terms of 1.2 are intended to help with that. One key reason we have to deauthorize. We can't use the protective options in 1.2 if someone can just publish harmful, discriminatory, or illegal content under 1.0A. And again, any content you've already published under 1.0A will always stay licensed under 1.0A. But this doesn't... Okay, nobody can publish illegal content under any OGL. If it's illegal, if it was illegal under 1.2, it was illegal under 1.0A. What is in here that they need to get in that was not present in 1.0A that they have to deauthorize it? And first of all, according to Ryan Dancy, who wrote the damn OGL, there is no path to deauthorizing it. Deauthorization doesn't exist. You can't deauthorize it. So, what are they doing? All right. Very limited license changes allowed. Only 2 sections can be changed once OGL 1.2 is live. How you cite wizards in your work and how we contact each other. We don't know what the future holds or what technologies we will use to communicate with each other, so we thought these 2 sections needed to be future-proofed. For completeness, let's sum up what else is in 1.2 and supporting documents. Virtual tabletop policy. We will continue to support VTT usage for both OGL creators and VTT operators. The virtual tabletop policy spells this out. Okay, but how much are they going to charge all these other virtual tabletops for use of their official content? Because you guarantee you, once they pop their VTT out, they're going to want to squeeze the competition. Ownership disputes. You own your content. You do not give Wizards any license back. And for any ownership disputes, you can sue for breach of contract and money damages versus holding up products other players are waiting for while we sort it out. So it basically means that if something was in dispute before, a lawyer could say, okay, well, you can't sell that until we figure out who owns what. Now, basically, you can continue to sell it while it's sussed out in court. No hateful content or conduct. If you include harmful, discriminatory, or illegal content, or engage in that content publicly, we can terminate your OGL 1.2 license to our content. Basically, you give them the right to become the morality police. I am not a hateful person. I'm not discriminatory. But I'm not sure what they consider hateful. Are they talking about me as a person hateful, or game mechanics as hateful? Like, what are they considering hateful? Like, and what if I get into an argument publicly about some game mechanics that I consider fine, and I get accused of being some old grognard with their head up their butt that hates all these other people? How quickly will they pull the hook on my ability to sell a product? Like, I don't like this morality clause, man. This is a problem. Overall, what we're going for here is good faith creators, the same level of freedom or greater for the things in the Creative Commons to create TTRPG content that has been so great for everyone, while giving us the tools to ensure the game continues to become ever more inclusive and welcoming. Okay, for the actual documents. All right, let's go take a look at the license. Everybody good? Anybody need a break? All right. This clearly... Okay, this clearly says draft on it. You know what the other one didn't say? Hey, the other one didn't say draft on it. Okay. Draft for discussion purposes only. Many ways to create. The core D&D mechanics, which is the system reference document. Okay, the core D&D mechanics, which are located on pages 56 through 104, 254 to 260, and 358 to 359 of the system reference document 5.1, but not the examples used on those pages, are licensed to you under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International, CC BY 4.0. This means that Wizards is not placing any limitations on how you use that content. That's what, 48. Okay, so the old systems reference document was over 400 pages long. These mechanics only compile like 60 pages worth of information, so I'm kind of curious about that. So that seems weird. The old system reference document was systems reference document 5. This is 5.1. So what did they change? What are we no longer allowed to use? I mean, that's something to look into. Are there changes in the systems reference document, stuff that we're not allowed to use by signing this, that we were allowed to use? Okay, I'm going to mark that down because that's something I have to look into further. Again, this is my first time looking at this part of it. So I have to look at the difference between the SRD 5 and SRD 5.1. That could be something there too, where they want to lock us into this something with the systems reference document. Our copyright rights in the other content included the systems reference document are licensed to you under the OGL 1.2. Use of D&D content in virtual tabletops is allowed on the terms of Wizards' virtual tabletop policy. Let's go take a look at that. All right. Okay, I agree. Where is that? Okay, why did it take me here? Let me go back. Where'd it go? Sorry, excuse me, guys. I'm just trying to... Virtual tabletop policy. Let's open that in a new tab. Oh, it's just... I guess I had to sign in. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong... okay. Sorry. Give me a second here, guys, while I sign in. I'll log in with Steam. Don't look at my password. You naughty, naughty boys, you. Alright, let me do this so you can't see it while I sign in. I guess you have to have a Wizards account to take a look at it. Oh, that's not right. Alright, let me try the other way. Sorry, guys. Excuse me for a second while I figure out how to sign in and look at this virtual tabletop policy. Alright, let me look it up. Alright. There's 3. Let's see if that's right. Shows you how long it's been since I've Okay, yeah, I'm in now. All right. So, all right, let's try this again. Virtual tabletop policy. Customer service, terms of use, code of content. Help. We're gonna look this up here. Okay, the help page of Wizards of the Coast is not working. Very interesting. Let's see. It's like click on this so you guys can see what I'm doing here. The FAQ page, no. Find a store. Company. Rules, maybe? No, this is Magic the Gathering. Products. Dungeons and Dragons, there we go. All right, so we're looking for the tabletop content policy, right? Virtual tabletop policy. All right. Privacy policy, terms of service, FAQ. Oh, okay. The FAQ page is not working. Tabletop. This is magic. I don't want magic. Let's go to products. I'm having such a hard time figuring this out. Sorry, guys. Just stick with me for a second here. Gina. I wonder if it's the same policy. Resources. Products. Card games. It really has to be like a way to look something up. Well, here's a fan content policy. All right, here's the fan content policy. It was last updated in 2017. We are continuously amazed at the community's creativity and engagement. We love that you enjoy creating and sharing fan content. That's the stuff you make, and want to encourage you to continue to create and share your stuff. You probably have a lot of questions about what you can and can't do with the Wizards' intellectual property, so we summoned our law mages to put together this fan content policy. We hope that you understand any restrictions in the fan content policy are intended to protect Wizards and its games. We got to protect our IP if we want to keep the lights on. Aren't they just so cute? They're just like us, you know? They're just like us. We got to keep the lights on, you know? They're struggling like we are. They're so cool. They're such a cool company. In short, your use of Wizards IP and your fan content is governed by the same rules you learned on the playground. Share freely, keep it clean, and don't hurt others. All right. That means we ask you to follow these rules. One word, FREE. You can use Wizards IP, except for the restrictions listed on 3, to make fan content that you share with the community for free. Free means free. You can't require payments, surveys, downloads, subscriptions, or email registration to gain access to your fan content. You can't sell or license your fan content to any third parties for any type of compensation. And your fan content must be free for others, including Wizards, to view, access, share, and use without paying you anything, obtaining your approval, or giving you credit. You can, however, subsidize your fan content by taking advantage of sponsorships, ad revenue, and donations, so long as it doesn't interfere with the community's access to your fan content. You have to tell the community it's unofficial. Make it clear that your fan content is not endorsed or sponsored by Wizards, i.e. unofficial. Please include a note with your fan content explaining that title of your fan content is unofficial fan content permitted under fan content policy, not endorsed by Wizards, Hasbro. Wizard portions of the material are used property of Wizards of the Coast, LLC. Don't hurt others. Please respect other people's IP. If you don't have the rights to use another person's stuff in your fan content, don't. If we learn that your fan content also includes other people's IP, IG, crossover mashups without their permission, we may ask for you to take it down. Oh, that's all right, Trish. This is all good. Don't worry about it. I'm getting the dry mouth from. We're just getting into the OGL, and I was looking up the tabletop policy, but I can't. I got the fan content policy instead. But it's germane. We needed to look at this anyway, just so we knew what it was. All right. Don't hurt Wizards. We ask that you refrain from doing any of the following. Don't use Wizards logos and trademarks. Oops. See thumbnail. My bad. We've included a list of our most frequently asked about trademarks in the FAQ. Don't mess with the legal notices in our stuff. If the Wizards IP you are incorporating into your fan content already is copyright notices, logos, trademarks, and other notices existing within it, don't remove them. Don't use Wizards IP in other games. This includes your own or other people's games or game components, e.g. rules, rule books, tokens, and figures, regardless of whether it's distributed for free. Don't use Wizards video or music in your fan content. We know our video trailers are awesome. Oh my God. I can't with you people. But use of our videos and music are governed by contracts with third parties. Please don't use any of our video music content unless you are embedding a video from an authorized third party's website, i.e. Twitch or YouTube. No bad stuff. We have the right to stop or restrict your use of Wizards IP at any time for any reason or no reason, including when we think your use is inappropriate, offensive, damaging, or disparaging. And we'll make that call in our sole discretion. If that happens, you must immediately take down your fan content or face the Demigorgon. Yeah, the big bad is back on from being on loan. Stranger Things. I knew. Yeah. Practice safe sponsorship. We understand that great fan content can sometimes require special equipment. We are okay with you using third-party sponsors to subsidize the cost if you follow a few rules. Don't use a sponsor that would be harmful to Wizards. Please don't promote our competitors or endorse inappropriate or offensive sponsors. See, I already have language built in here on how to deal with offensive stuff. So why the need to switch to the OGL, the 1.2? They already have the language in all this stuff. Now, I don't know if that language affects things that third-party content creators are selling or just fan-controlled stuff, but do not associate Wizards with your sponsor in any way. Keep any shout-outs, mentions, or credits to a reasonable length. Make it clear visually or verbally that they are acting as a sponsor only. Follow the rule of the land. It's your fan content, so you are solely responsible for ensuring that your creations don't violate the laws of your region, county, plane, or dimension. My God, we're so cool. Look at us sneaking fun stuff into official policy statements. We're so cool. Sorry, I'm getting tired. There we go. Missed it. If there's a conflict between anything in this policy and the Wizards teams win. Yeah. Those agreements include important legal terms such as limitations of liability, indemnification, and dispute resolution, so please review them carefully. One last thing, please don't pull us into any legal battles. Our lawyers are busy enough. If Wizards of the Coast, our partners, affiliates, or employees get hit with any legal claims, fees, or expenses related to your fan content, you're responsible for paying all the costs, including attorney's fees and resulting judgment or settlement. Is that clear? Like, do we need to keep diving into this? Can I use all of okay, here we go. So what exactly is Wizards IP? Wizards IP includes the cards, creatures, books, games, gameplay, pictures, stories, logos, animations, artwork, plots, plots, locations, histories, characters, graphics, files, texts, and any other material published by Wizards of the Coast. Can I use all of Wizards' IP? Unfortunately, no. You cannot incorporate Wizards' patents, game mechanics, unless your fan content is created under the D&D Open Gaming license, logos, or trademarks in your fan content without our prior written permission. Below is a list of Wizards' most frequently asked about trademarks and logos you may not include in your fan content. All right. Does fan content include web videos and live streams? Yes. Just follow the policies outlined above. My fan content is free to access, but I may take donations or derive ad revenue. Yes. Just can't be hidden behind a paywall. Oh, this is the old fan content policy. They haven't updated the fan content policy. The OGL is completely different. We're gonna go back to that in a second. Let's see. So, let's see. Oh, this is an interesting one. Does this mean I can get a beholder eyelid tattoo? Sure. Actually, we get this question a lot. You're free to tattoo as you please, but Wizards won't be responsible for future tattoo removal costs or your life choices. Okay, so you can get their stuff tattooed on you. You just can't sell pictures of that tattoo on you. But you can show a picture of that tattoo off to people and then accept money via Patreon. It's convoluted. All right, let me go back to let's see, starter set. And I lost the OGL. Here we go. I did lose the OGL. Give me 1 second. Sorry. There it is. Okay. Okay, I just gotta save this. Let me save this to my computer. All right. The use of D&D content in virtual tabletops is allowed on the terms of Wizards' virtual tabletop policy. Still can't find that. Use of D&D content in streaming fan art cosplay is permitted as described in their fan content policy. Now, we just looked at that. I'm going to Google Wizards' virtual tabletop policy because every time I look for it, I can't find it. WOTC VIRT virtual tabletop policy. There it is. All right, got it. All right. No, but this isn't it. Virtual tabletop policy. There it is. Oh my God! Tell me the policy is not in the dang freaking OGL, and all I had to do was scroll down. There it is, right there. Oh my goodness. Why didn't it take me down to here when I clicked on it? Oh my goodness. Okay, here's a virtual tabletop policy. As gamers and big fans of VTTs, we're announcing this new VTT policy as part of the rollout of 1.2. Why does Wizards need a VTT policy? We support the role VTTs play in tabletop space. The ability to game remotely means more people can game, and it's wonderful that people thousands of miles apart can share a space as through sitting around a table. But as VTTs advance, their functionality will raise a tricky question. Where's the line between a VTT and a video game? When does a VTT become more than just a replacement for a traditional tabletop? Those questions require thoughtful answers. Answering them will take time, and we want this policy to reflect your input. So we'll be asking for your feedback and talking to you about our goals and discussions as they advance, as a new technology emerges. All right. What is permitted under this policy? Using VTTs to replicate the experience of sitting around a table and playing D&D with your friends. So displaying static SRD content is just fine because it's just looking in a source book. You can put the text of your magic missile up on your VTT and use it to calculate and apply damage to your target. And automating magic missiles damage to replace manually rolling and calculating is fine. The VTT can apply magic missiles 1d4 plus 1 damage automatically to your target's hit points. You do not have to manually calculate and track the damage. What isn't permitted, and features that don't replicate your dining room table storytelling. If you replace your imagination with an animation of the magic missile streaking across the board to strike your target, or your VTT integrates our content into an NFT, they're so hung up on NFTs. Hold on one second. What's going on? Yeah, that's not me. That's no, that's that's an old one. It just deals with polyhedrals. Sorry. What isn't permitted is features that don't replicate your dining room storytelling. If you replace your animation with an animation of magic missile streaking across the board to strike your target, or your VTT integrates our content into an NFT, that's not the tabletop experience. That's more like a video game. Okay, so basically you can't have animated spell cards. Like they don't want you to animate stuff. But you know who's going to have it? Like, I guarantee you that their virtual tabletop is going to have a way for them to animate spells. It's going to be bombastic. It's going to show like you're going to... Oh, no, it's no problem, no, it's no big deal. So you know that their virtual tabletop is going to show all that stuff, because they're going to have the coolest and the biggest and the brightest and the bestest. But you know darn well that any of their competitors, you can calculate the stuff, but don't give us any fancy animations. May I make my VTT owlbear token look like the one from the monster manual? No, you may not. We've never licensed visual depictions of our content under the OGL, just like the SRD text. That hasn't changed. You can create a creature called an owlbear with a stat block from the SR Systems Reference document, but you cannot copy any of our owlbear depictions. But if you draw on your own unique owlbear, or someone else did, you can use it. So, those token packs that you get that have the pictures of the tokens from the monster manual, you cannot import them into a third-party VTT. That would be breaking their VTT policy. And I know a lot of people have those token packs. It makes me wonder if Roll20 will still be allowed to sell those token packs. Like, are they going to start yanking back? You know, you have that token pack, but you can't upload it into Foundry. It can't look exactly the same, because if it does, you're now in violation. What about OGL 1.0a? Does this policy apply to that? Yes, you can upload your already licensed content to a VTT. Wait a minute, what? This is okay. I own or operate a VTT. How does this affect me? If you're a VTT owner or operator who supports the OGL products on your platform, you have the same obligations for VTT content that any other website owner or operator has for copyrighted content under the DMCA. So that means you need to strike a deal specifically with Wizards of the Coast if you want to host their licensed content. So here's where they're gonna rake these VTTs over the coals. You say this is a conversation. Does that mean this policy can change? Yes. We need your feedback as the tabletop space evolves. The potential of VTTs is tremendous and exciting, and we don't want to harm their development. I mean, fair enough, I guess, but that's all the way down to the bottom. So basically, you can't upload their actual pictures from the monster manual, and you can't have your cool spell effects going across the table, which is crazy because, frankly, like, if I have a tablet open at the table and I animate some spell effects at the table, that's something that I do. And they say that they want you to be able to replicate the home game through a VTT. So all these VTTs with bells and whistles and crazy animations and stuff, those are not going to be allowed third party. You're going to have to go to D&D for all those. All right, so I think going back up. Where was I? Okay, here we go. Platforms such as D&D Beyond and DM's Guild provide additional paths to share your D&D content under different game licenses terms. Creator product badges. For content published under OGL 1.2, you may use one of the following badges in a manner specified in the creator product badge style guide. So long as you comply with that guide and using badges, Wizards license you under the OGL 1.2 to such a badge on any of your licensed works. So here, look, now you don't have to just put 5e compatible on your boba statement. I think it was bombastic, but yes, I did use that term. So now you don't have to just put 5e compatible on there. You can actually put the ampersand on your stuff. Well, who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that? I mean, I really don't care about it, but some people are like, yeah, I get to have the ampersand on my work. That's great. What comes along with that, though? Their ability to say, oh, you got the ampersand on your work, but you're a bigot, so you can never sell anything again. Sorry. Notice of deauthorization of 1.0A. The Open Gaming License 1.0A is no longer an authorized license. This means you may not use that version of the OGL or any other prior version to publish the system's reference document content after the effective date. It does not mean that any content previously published under that version needs to update to this license. Any previously published content remains licensed under whichever version of the OGL was in effect when you published that content. No, you can't deauthorize 1.0A. What is so threatening to Wizards of the Coast about 1.0A? What? Already, if you have the ampersand on something that it shouldn't be there, they can come after you. Nobody is confusing anybody that has a 5e compatible logo on their book with an actual Wizards of the Coast product. So they can't claim that you're harming the brand of Wizards of the Coast and D&D by doing something hackneyed in one of your products. Everybody understands already that you're not Dungeons and Dragons. Is complete overreach. They just want the ability to shut you down for any reason that they want to. I don't like it. There is absolutely no reason to deauthorize and no legal way to deauthorize 1.0A. Mark Dancy said so himself. Like, all this, I feel like they're giving us all this cool stuff just to deauthorize 1.0A and say you can no longer publish under it. But it's not legal. You can't do it. This thing is going to court. Sorry, it is going to court. And already, I'm curious about the mechanics because, like we said before, the original SRD systems reference document is over 400 pages long, and it's saying here that the core D&D mechanics, which are located on page 56 to 104, 254 to 260, and 358 and 359 of the systems reference document 5.1. That's what you may reference. As a matter of fact, there is no attached copy of the systems reference document in this gaming license. So we're gonna have to take a look at that, and I wonder what those changes are. You know, there's something in here. There's some reason they want us to get off of the other SRD. Okay, here we go. Draft for discussion purposes only. Open gaming license. This is a license between Wizards of the Coast, LLC, and anyone who wants to use the licensed content in their own TTRPG. By using our licensed content, you agree to the terms of this license, and used in this license, we or any other term referring to us includes our affiliates, successors, and predecessors. So, listen, while we're talking about this, guys, if anybody's interested in coming on and chatting, the Zoom link is up at the top. I can get you on while we're going through this, because we're coming down to the end of the night. If anybody has something they want to discuss or want to talk about, any thoughts, go ahead and click on that Zoom link while we're going through this. I'll bring you on audio only, so you don't have to worry about showing your face on the screen. So just to let you guys know that if anybody wants to come on and chat. So yeah, just let me know. So I'll probably go for at least another 15-20 minutes. We'll get through this OGL, the new OGL. All right, let's see. I wonder if they have something planned for release, something big, and they want to scare people off so there won't be competition. Well, 6th edition, frankly. I think they're doing this now. Okay, do we want to get into conspiracy theory? Like, let me know when you want me to tell you what I really think is going on here. I'll drop the music low and we'll get all conspiratorial here. So, the licensed content, cover content. Our licensed content. This license covers any content in the SRD 5.1 or any subsequent version of the SRD we release under this license that is not licensed to you under Creative Commons. You may use that content in your own works on the terms of this license. So it's 5.1, not 5.0. So I wonder if that's just because of the change in editions. But does that also mean that you can no longer publish 5th edition work with the 5th edition reference SRD? Because if you think about it, if 5.0 is linked to 1.0a, the system's reference document is linked to 1.0a, and they deauthorize 1.0a, then you can no longer use the system's reference document 5.0, because the new OGL only allows you to reference the system's reference document 5.1. So does that mean that third-party creators are no longer allowed to make content for any other edition of Dungeons and Dragons? You cannot go back and publish 3.5 work because the system's different. You can only publish for 6th edition moving forward. Cannot publish anything 5th edition or earlier. It's just a thought. And I don't know, because I'm just now going through this here. All right. Our unlicensed content. Only our licensed content is licensed under this license. What? Only our licensed content is licensed under this license. Only the apples that came out of this apple tree are apples from this apple tree. What kind of loyal triple speak is this shit? Any other content we release or have released is not licensed to you under this license. There it is. Just stuff licensed under this license. So you can't use this license to go back and do anything like pull from 3rd edition, pull from 5th edition. They are literally moving everybody to one D&D where they control everything. They control the horizontal. They control the vertical. Don't reach for you dial. They got you on lockdown. And don't you think about continuing to publish anything from your 5th edition works. You can. Ooh, the sneaky sneaky. Sneaky sneaky there. Let's see what they're doing here. Man, I kind of want to like our licensed content, our unlicensed content. Only our licensed content is licensed under this license. Any other content we release or have released is not licensed to you under this license. It's any other content we release or have released. So does that mean another edition, like say 7th edition, is not licensed under this license? This is for a lawyer to take a look at, man, but we're getting into it now. This is your content. This is your creative contributions to your work that are not our licensed content or our unlicensed content. This license permits you to combine your content with our licensed content and distribute the resulting work as authorized by this license. So again, forget 5th edition, forget 3rd edition. You can't publish anything other than what is in 5.1 SRD, which is a whole hell of a lot smaller than the 5.0 SRD. It's like 400 pages down to 60. So you cannot do anything for any other edition. Ooh, this is juicy. Works covered. This license only applies to printed media and static electronic files. We got that such as EPUBs or PDFs you create for use in or as tabletop role-playing games and supplements. And in virtual tabletops in accordance with our virtual tabletop policy. We already looked at that. We looked at the virtual tabletop policy. Basically, don't animate anything. Don't use our actual pictures or else you're going to have to pay us to do that. Your licensed work, to be a licensed work under this license, it must be covered as work defined in Section 1B. Okay, so it has to be printed media or static electronic files. It has to contain both our licensed content and your content. Okay. And not contain our unlicensed content. And what is their licensed content? Only their licensed content is licensed under this license. So forget any other editions. You can no longer publish them. No. I'm not signing this thing. Forget it. This isn't any better. Looking into it, and no fees, no nothing. But you will only ever be able to publish for one D&D. That's it. Sorry. I don't mean to start getting mad or anything, but this isn't looking great. Copyrights. We're only licensing you our copyrights in our licensed content. Except that under Section 5, we also grant you a trademark license to the creator product badge. So you can use that little badge. Right? Right, Drifter? Yeah. They're making sure to put draft in the background. You know what that does? It just goes to show you that the other OGL 1.1A was not a fucking draft. And they're trying to tell it's a draft. It's a draft. It's a draft. It wasn't a draft. It went out with contracts. You're just bullshitting. Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to get hyper there. But yeah. Okay, we're only licensing you our copyrights and our licensed content, except that under Section 5, we also grant you a trademark license to the creator product badge. So we can use the ampersand finally, just the creative one. Don't modify it, though. Is further detailed in the creator product badge style guide. Alrighty. You receive no other rights to our trademarks and no rights to any other intellectual property we own. Don't stick that picture of Vecna on the cover of one of your books. Don't put a picture of Castle Ravenloft on your Ravenloft product. If in fact you can even make a Ravenloft product. Because how do we know that Ravenloft is going to be available in 1D&D? How do we know that any of the settings is going to be available? How do we know that any of the settings are going to be available in 1D&D? It could be setting neutral. All this very much seems like one D&D is going to be just like a basic game. You know, here's all the creatures. Here's how these creatures work. But they're not like they're stripping out a lot of the setting specific stuff. So how do we even know that if we sign this, that you're even going to have access to any of those old settings? You may never be able to publish official Forgotten Realms content again if they get rid of the realms. Don't know yet. At least this is what I'm thinking here. Let's see. All right, sorry. Let's continue. Do you want to check out the creator product badge style guide? Let's take a look at that. See, why does it... Okay, every time I click on a link, it just kicks me to the Wizards page. So I don't know whether these links are not officially set up yet or not, or I'm doing something wrong. So if anybody out there is watching, let me know if you're watching this on the replay, let me know if I'm doing something wrong, because I'm not that smart of a person. If anybody watching now knows what I'm doing wrong, just help me out here. All right, license. In consideration for your compliance with this license, you may copy, use, modify, or distribute our licensed content around the world as part of your licensed work. This license is perpetual, meaning it has no set and end date. No, non-exclusive, meaning that we may offer others a license to our licensed content or our unlicensed content under any conditions we choose. And irrevocable, meaning that content licensed under the license can never be withdrawn from the license. So many words, license. Like, okay, that's fine, but moving forward, but you're deauthorizing 1.0A. I hate to keep driving this point home. You're deauthorizing that, which let us have access to the 5.0 SRD. I need to see what's in the 5.1 SRD. We got to look that up. We just got to look it up, because I'm starting to see what they're doing here. This is, other than not having to pay them, this isn't any better. Revocable. It can also be modified, except for the attribution provisions of Section 5 and Section 9.9A regarding notices. So it can be modified. This whole thing can be modified. They say it can't be revoked, but it can be modified. What you own. Your license works are yours. Then again, your licensed works are only things included in this license, cube squared to the third power of licensability. Cube squared to the third power? Is that even a thing? I think y'all thinking this 1.2A a little too dramatically. It's way better. It doesn't matter if it's better or not. You can't create anything for anything. You can't create anything for other than 6.6 edition. So yeah, it's way better. But better what? If you sign it, you can't create for anything other than 1D&D. You can't create for 5th edition, 3.5. So you can only create 1D&D. It ain't better. What you own, your license works are yours. They may not be copied or used without your permission. You acknowledge that we and our licenses as content creators ourselves might independently come up with content similar to the one you create. If you claim that we breached this provision, or that one of our licenses did in connection with content that is licensed from us, any such claim will be brought only as a lawsuit for breach of contract, and only money for damages. You expressly agree that money damages are an adequate remedy for such a breach, and that you will not seek or be entitled to injunctive relief. So, now this is interesting. So instead of the buyback deal, license back deal, if they do use something of yours, money, you're agreeing to a payoff. So If it's original OGL or bust, it's a bust. Yes, it's a bust. It's a bust because right there it said any such claim will be brought only as a lawsuit for breach of contract and only for money damages. You expressly agree that money damages are an adequate remedy for such a breach and that we will not seek or be entitled to injunctive relief. You can't stop them. They're just going to pay you off if they take your stuff. In any such lawsuit, you must show that we knowingly and intentionally copied your licensed work. Any access and substantial similarity will not be enough to prove a breach of this section 3. So they're already laying the terms out. Access and substantial similarity will not access meaning that they had access to it, and substantial similarity meaning it's like really similar. They're already saying that's not going to be enough to prove breach of contract. Well, how do they say that? Lunga, thanks for showing up, by the way, buddy. Why are we saying that they will possibly use something made by creators? These legalities are for extreme cases. The OGL states unequivocally that they will not use your content. Where? It doesn't state they won't use your content. I'm reading it now. It states that they will not knowingly steal your content and that we own our content, but it doesn't say that they won't use it. Let's see. What we own. In any such lawsuit, you must show that we knowingly and intentionally copied your licensed work. Access and substantial similarity will not be enough to prove a breach of this section. Fine. What we own. We own our licensed content and reserve all rights not expressly granted in this license. You control your content. You can make your content available under any terms you choose to, but you may not change the terms under which we make our licensed content available. You may clearly indicate that your licensed work contains our licensed content under this license, either by including the full text of this license in your licensed work, or by applying the creator products badge in compliance with the then current style guidelines. Alright, you may clearly indicate your license. Okay, you basically had to show it. Yeah, I realize it's a lot different. Like, I'm just saying that if they do end up with your stuff and they knowingly take it, it says in here that they won't stop. You can't, even if you sue them and it's found that they won, the worst they have to do is pay you money. That's all I'm saying. I know it's better, but I just don't think I like it. But I'm not, I'm just a guy. All right. You may permit the use of your content on any terms you want. However, okay, I read that already. Warranties and disclaimers. You represent and warrant that age and capacity to be bound. You are over the age of majority, or if younger, you have had your parent and guardian review these terms and agree to sign them on your behalf. Authority. You have no power and authority to enter into this license and perform its obligations. Oh, I'm sorry. You have the power. My bad. So let's see here. No endorsement, except as otherwise expressly allowed by this license. You will not state, suggest, or imply that your licensed works are endorsed by or associated with us. Good. That's good. That was in the old one as well. No illegal conduct. You will not violate the law in any way relating to this license or your licensed works. Okay. No hateful content or conduct. You will not include content in your licensed work that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing, or engage in contact that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing. We have the sole right to decide what conduct or content is hateful, and you covenant that you will not contest any such determination via any suit or illegal action. Tell me that's okay. Tell me that's okay. You basically, that's, you won't do anything in your content that we don't like and you will have nothing to say about it via legal action if we tell you to pull it and you have to stop printing it. Is basically what they're saying. Throw all the other stuff out of the window. That's too much of a here, have at it. That's too open. Like, what is considered discriminatory and obscene today may not be considered discriminatory and obscene in the future. And conversely, what's not considered obscene now may eventually become obscene. How do we know? It's not just about meta content. It's content in your product too. You will not include content in your licensed works that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing. It means you can't have a setting where orcs are just evil creatures and that they are just cannon fodder. I use the example as earlier. Like if I wanted to create a setting where orcs are completely evil, they're dumb, they're stupid, they're ignorant, and you're only allowed to play as men in that setting, they could easily say that's discriminatory and bigoted. You can't sell that product. I would never do that, but isn't that a bridge too far? Especially since they already know you're not associated with Wizards of the Coast. You don't officially represent them in any capacity. I just think it's a little bit too heavy-handed, and it's a little bit too much. No, they are talking about the game stuff. I'm saying it's a possibility. It says game stuff. And already, I get your point. If some creator, I do like Orc Feet. If some creator is outed as a sexual assaulter or shown to be blatantly racist, but isn't it like they're not working for Wizards of the Coast? Like the game, they're already not using official Wizards of the Coast characters, or they're not using Wizards of the Coast logos. They're not associated with Wizards of the Coast. So it seems like a bridge too far. Like, I think it's an excuse to be able to do what they want with third-party creators. Yes, I do think that's the case. I think they will use it as an excuse to go after third-party creators. It will. But their name is associated with it. This is something all companies do. Their name isn't associated with it. You can't slap the name Dungeons & Dragons on your third-party content. That's why everybody has to say 5th edition compatible. Right. Okay, I get the point. You can get fired from your job if actions look bad for the company. They're not employed by Wizards of the Coast. Third-party content creators are not the employees of Wizards of the Coast. They're independent creators. This is allowing a corporation to apply rules that a employee would have to comply with to an independent company only because they use their rule set. I get what you're saying. You're right. And it's still, yes, like it says, it's their system, their mechanics. I get it as an independent creator, but they are using the D&D system. They are using the D&D system, but it's still up for debate as to whether you can copyright game mechanics. That's still up for debate. I'm just saying, I just don't like it. I think it's too much of a look. If you give somebody an inch, they will take a mile. If you open up this door where you allow them on the basis of allow them to cut you off at the knees on the basis of morality, and when you're not employed by them, I think it's a slippery slope. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you may not agree, and that's fine, but I think it's a slippery slope. And earlier on, it's not up for debate, bro. You can't do that. What is up for debate is whether or not something is a mechanic or an expression. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. I'm only have a little bit more to get through, and then we're going to call it a stream. I appreciate everybody I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out and stuff and digging through this. So let's keep going here.
So modification and termination. We may only modify the provisions of this license identifying the attribution required under Section 5 and the notice of provision in Section 9. We may not modify any other provision. So modify... Okay, they can modify, you control your content. You can make content available under any terms, but you may not change the terms under which we make our licensed content. You must clearly indicate that your licensed work contains our licensed work. You may permit the use of your content on any terms you want. However, if any license you offer is different than the terms of the license, okay, so they can modify the you control your content section, and Section 9. So let's see, what else can they modify? 9A. Huh. So they may modify the fact that they may notify you by email or physical addresses. We can locate for you. Only if we cannot locate your email or physical address after reasonable search, notice via a public channel is sufficient. Okay. You may provide notice to us of your email or physical address or any other notice by emailing yada yada. I like the engagement, Lunga. No, that's all good. Thank you again. Let's see. Okay, so they can modify those two sections. Modify the fact that we control our content and modify how they can notify you, which is weird. Okay. We may immediately terminate your license if you infringe any of our intellectual property. That's good. Bring an action challenging our ownership of our licensed content, trademarks, or patents, or violate any law in relation to your activities under this license, or violate Section 6F. 6F. No hateful content or conduct. Content. That's an issue. I'm just saying that could be an issue. All right. Disclaimer of warranties and limitations of liability. You understand and agree that we are providing the licensed content as is and making no representations or warranty of any kind concerning your use of the licensed content, except as expressly stated in this license. We disclaim all warranties, express, implied, statutory or otherwise. You bear all risks of using the licensed content, and such use is solely at your own discretion and risk. We have no liability for you or any types of damages in connection with your use of our licensed gaming content, including, without limitation, and indirect, consequential, special, punitive, or exemplary damages, so long as our content is at issue was not grossly negligent or intentional. Whew, that was a mouthful. Miscellaneous. Okay. Entire agreement and disclaimer of reliance. This license covers your use of our licensed content. The license consists only of the terms expressly included herein, and not any matter expressly included herein. In accepting this license, you represent and warrant to us that you have relied only on the terms of the license and the advice of your own counsel, if any. You have not relied on anything that is expressly not part of this license. No waiver of rights. If we fail to exercise any right we have under this license, that failure will not prevent us from exercising that right in the future. Meaning, past performance is not an indicator of future performance. Governing law. Let's see. Servability. If any part of this license is held to be unenforceable or invalid for any reason, Wizards may declare the entire license void, either as between it and the party that obtained the ruling or in its entirety. Unless Wizards elects to do so, the balance of this license will be enforced as if the part which is unenforceable is invalid or didn't exist. Meaning they can, like, if a piece is unenforceable, they can just remove it and we can keep using the rest of the license. Governing law. This license, all matters relating to its interpretation and enforcement, will be governed by the laws of the state of Washington, and any disputes arising out of that or relating to this license will be resolved solely and exclusively through individual litigation in the state or federal courts located in the country in which Wizards or any successor, because remember, this is in perpetuity now, has its headquarters, and the parties expressly consent to the jurisdiction of such courts. Each party hereto irrevocably waives the right to participate in any class, collective, or other joint action with respect to such a dispute. So signing this, you can't sue them for any reason. Basically. I think. Yes. Heading and footnotes, to reference purposes only. Waiver of jury trial. We and you each waive the right, any right to a jury trial of any dispute, claim, or cause of action related to this arising out of this license. So no jury trial. You should seek advice of counsel to make sure you understand this license and agree that you have the opportunity to do so. And then there's a virtual tabletop policy. And boy, my mouth is dry. So, oh boy. So that was a mouthful. Oh, that was an awful lot. So I have some thoughts. I don't like it. Do I like it better than the other one? Yes. But, you know, would I rather get shot in the head or in the arm? I'd rather not get shot. So it is what it is. So look, I'm going to probably do a video digging into my thoughts on this. But it's late now. I'm glad we have some sort of answer, even if it looks better. But I still don't think you can revoke 1.0A. It's still not revocable. There's still no need for this. They could still, they can still get up to all kinds of shenanigans. So no, I don't like it. It's I already have a way of dealing with people who put out things that D&D doesn't like. So yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you for showing up. Look for a full video on it tomorrow, and tomorrow we're gonna get back to some fun stuff. We're gonna get back to the Dungeon 23. It was just a little break. I really felt like we needed to cover this. Yeah, thanks everybody for showing up. Drifter, Noah, Lunga from the Grey Council, thank you, sir, for coming in. Appreciate you stopping by. Patricia, thanks again. Gray was here earlier. Y'all are some of my favorite people in the world. And remember, let's not let this tear us apart. You know, we're all in this together, even if we're not content creators, even if we're just content absorbers. And remember, the game happens at your house, at your table. It's important to remember that no matter what they do as a company, we all have enough stuff to exist for a very long time without buying anything new. And I'm not in any means advocating any type of boycott or anything except maybe D&D Beyond, because screw that. So the one thing I want you guys to watch out for is I think it is very dangerous right now for all of us to have a mass exodus from D&D. My concern is that if all of us leave and F off to other systems, that the new group of people coming in to D&D Beyond, the ones who are going to be locked in D&D Beyond's walled garden with their virtual tabletop, their beautiful virtual tabletop, and their $20 a month subscription fee, $29.99, whatever it is, you get all the books. They're not going to understand that D&D isn't played just through a virtual tabletop, through Wizards of the Coast, that they don't own D&D. We own D&D. We all own D&D. We don't just own D&D. We own tabletop role-playing. And I just want you guys to try to stick it out as much as we may not like what's going on. It's better to stick around and fight and be a grain of sand in somebody's side than it is to just F off and leave anybody who would be coming here later to their own devices. So thanks again, everybody, for showing up. Remember, in the game of life, I mean, y'all suckers always roll with advantage. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow or in the next video. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, there's another window I'm gonna go ahead and click on here because yeah, there's another video. Catch you guys later. Be good to each other. Oh, remember, don't harass anybody at Wizards of the Coast. They're just people too. I did think it was funny that all of a sudden out of nowhere, once somebody started impugning the actual employees, that everybody started speaking up, you know? But, you know, it was kind of funny. But anyway, y'all take it easy. Remember, don't let your gaming table tilt in anybody else's favor.